You look just like our king. I mean, imagine hearing that right after waking up from a nap in the middle of a forest. For one guy, this wasn't some weird dream. Nope, it was the absolutely wild start to an incredible adventure. So yeah, this is the story of The Prisoner of Zenda. It's this classic adventure that asks a pretty wild question. How does a regular tourist on a whim of a vacation end up in a life or death mission to save a whole kingdom? Let's dive in. All right, so first up, we've got to meet our main guy, Rudolf Rassendyll. He's 29, comes from a ton of money, and his main job is, well, being rich. To his family, he's kind of just floating through life with no real goals, no real purpose. I mean, his sister-in-law, Rose, pretty much calls him lazy, says he's never done anything useful. But here's the thing about Rudolph. Underneath that whole man of leisure vibe, he's actually got some serious skills. We're talking fluent German, he's a crack shot with a sword, and he can ride a horse like a pro. These might seem like just rich guy hobbies, but trust me, they're about to become the most important skills in the world. So, with some time on his hands before a potential new job, Rudolph just decides to take a trip. A total spur-of-the-moment thing. He picks this small kingdom, Ruritania, because he heard they're having a coronation. But here's the absolute key to this whole story. His family has a distant, centuries-old connection to the Ruritanian royals, the Elfbergs, and he just so happens to have their signature look, bright red hair, and really striking blue eyes. So Rudolph heads off on his trip, but when he gets to Ruritania, the capital city, Strelzau, is totally packed. Every hotel, every inn, booked solid for the coronation. Classic travel problem, right? So he decides to stop in a little town nearby called Zenda. Little does he know, this tiny detour, it's going to change everything. Okay, so he's in Zenda, goes for a walk in the forest, and decides to take a little nap. The next thing he knows, he's being woken up by two guys, Colonel Sopt and Fritz von Tarlenheim. And they are just staring at him, completely floored by what they see. And just as Rudolph is trying to figure out what's going on, the reason for their shock steps out from the trees. It's the king, King Rudolph V. And when I say they look alike, I mean it's absolutely uncanny. We're talking the exact same red hair, the same blue eyes, they even have that same family look. The only real difference, our guy Rudolph has a beard. That's it. They're basically identical twins born centuries apart. It's wild. Now you'd think the king would be freaked out, right? Nope. He thinks it's the funniest thing he's ever seen. He's immediately thinking about the prank he can pull on his half-brother, the very serious Duke Michael. The king is so delighted, he's like, "You have to come to my hunting lodge for dinner tonight." So they're at the hunting lodge, and what starts out as this weird, friendly dinner party is about to take a very, very dark turn. A single act of betrayal is about to happen that threatens the entire future of Ruritania. So in the middle of dinner, this gift shows up from Duke Michael. It's a pot of coffee. The king, not thinking anything of it, drinks the whole thing. Fast forward to the next morning, the big day, coronation day, and they find the king passed out. He's been drugged, and nothing they do can wake him up. This is a disaster. The crown is totally up for grabs. And here's why it's a full-blown crisis. According to Ruritanian law, it's simple. If the king doesn't get crowned today, the throne automatically goes to the next in line. And who's that? You guessed it, the guy who sent the coffee, Duke Michael. So the clock is ticking, the king is out cold. What in the world are they supposed to do? This is where Colonel Sapt, the old soldier, comes up with a plan that is so crazy, so out there, it's borderline insane. He looks at Rudolf Rassendyll, the tourist, the only other person who looks exactly like the king, and says, "You have to do it." He tells him to shave the beard, put on the uniform, and pretend to be the king. And the wildest part, Rudolph actually agrees to do it. And just like that, the show is on. This is, without a doubt, the most dangerous performance of his entire life. The lazy English tourist is gone. Now he's riding into the capital city, surrounded by the royal guard, about to try and fool an entire country, including the very man who drugged the real king. No pressure, right? As he's riding through the city, you can just feel the tension. The city is split in two. In the newer, modern part of town, people are cheering. They love their king. But then he enters the old town. This is Duke Michael's turf, and the cheering just stops. It's dead silent. All he gets are these cold, suspicious stares from everyone. It's chilling. At this point, Rudolph has one single job. Just one. Get through this ceremony. Get that crown on his head and fool everybody, from the people on the street to the nobility, even the king's own family. One wrong move, one little slip up, and the whole thing comes crashing down. So during this ceremony, he's right there, face to face with Duke Michael, who looks completely shocked to see him standing there. He also meets Princess Flavia, the woman the real king is supposed to marry, and she can tell something's different. She looks over at the Duke, then back at Rudolph, and whispers this urgent warning to him. Be careful, he is dangerous. And he pulls it off. The coronation is a success. The imposter is now officially the king. But the job isn't done. Now, under the cover of night, Rudolph and Sopt have to race back to that hunting lodge in Zenda, swap places with the real king, and get him back to the palace without a single soul finding out what just happened. Of course, it's not going to be that easy. As they're riding like mad through the dark, they hear more horses behind them. And it's not just anyone, it's the Duke and his men. The really scary question is, why are they in such a hurry to get back to Zenda too? They finally get to the lodge, and their hearts just sink. It's completely dark, totally silent. The guards they left behind to protect the king, gone. They rush inside, and what they find is even worse. The door to the king's room has been smashed in, and inside, nothing. The room is totally empty. They've got the king! And that horrified shout from Sapt is where we're left hanging. The real king has been kidnapped, and our tourist, Rudolf Rossendell, is now trapped in the biggest lie of his life. He wasn't just playing a part for a day, he is the king of Ruritania now, and he's the only person who can possibly save the man he's impersonating.